Hello fellow developers, this is Vishnu from Stack Reboot, back again with a new video of the series where we are building a simple weather application using React and Tailwind CSS. So first things first, if you are new here then please do check out the previous parts of the series and you can find them in the playlist section, and I'll be also linking the video link in the description so that you can directly pick it out from there. And other than that, let's just start building our application. And as you can see, this is where we left off on the last video. So we created these components, and as of now these components just to render the static information which we provided for the components. So now if you take a look at the final application, so as you can see, so if we click on the search for places button right here, as you can see, this hides the left side component right here. So whenever I click the button, the search for places right here, this hides the left side component which we created earlier. So and other than that, so whenever if I search for a new place, so let's just say if I search for Mumbai right here, and as you can see, whenever I clicked on the search button, it's just gonna be communicating with the API and just renders the components as such. So in this video, let's just create the functionality for the search for places button. So go back to application, and inside the components folder, go to the left side folder, and in here let's just create a new file and let's just say sets.jsx, and here let's just about a basic React functional component for now and say hello from search. So just go ahead and save it, or let's give it a class name of text white so that we can see the text, and come back to the app.js file, and inside the app.js file let's just import the search component from the component / left aside and the search. So now down the left side you can just render the search which we created earlier. So if you go ahead and save this, go back to our application. So this thing right here, as you can see, we got hello from the search right here. So now just go back to the application and go to the search.jsx file, and let's just create styling for this search component, or let's just create the toggle function first. And just to reiterate the toggle function, so whenever I click the search for places button, so this backside left side component is being hidden. So let's just do that right now. Go back to the app.js file, and inside the app.js file let's just import the use state hook from the React. So now let's just import the use state hook from the React, and let's just create a state. So I'm gonna say const toggle and set toggle, and we'll be using the use state, and initial value for it will be false, right? So now just pass this toggle function and set toggle to the search component right here. So I'm gonna say toggle is equal to toggle and the set toggle to the set toggle function. So as you can see here, I am passing this toggle and set toggle as a props to the search component, right? So as you can see here, I'm passing the toggle and the set toggle as props to the search component which we created now. So just go to the search.jsx file, and let's just delete the class name which we created earlier, and now let's just give it a class name, or firstly let's just get the props which we passed from the app component. So we'll be receiving the toggle and the set toggle from the app.js file, right? So inside this division, let's just say if not equals to toggle, then we are gonna set the display property to hidden, or else let's just say it to an empty string. So with that done in the search component, let's go back to the left side.jsx file. For this parent division right here, let's just give it a class name if the toggle is true, right? And then we're gonna set the state to hidden or else empty string. So before I use toggle in the left side component, we need to pass the toggle and the set toggle as props. So inside the app.jsx file, So let's just pass the toggle and set toggle. And now let's just go back to the left.side.jsx file, and as we are passing the toggle and set toggle as props, so let's just destructure it right here. And now so we are going to be defining a handler for this particular button. So let's just say for this button, let's just give it a on click. So whenever the button gets triggered, so let's just create a new function and name it as button handler. So I didn't create the function right now, so let's just create it now. So here let's just say const button handler, and this is gonna be arrow function as always. And inside the button handler, so whenever I click the button, I'm gonna set the toggle state to the opposite of the current value. So here I'm gonna say to set the toggle value to opposite of toggle, right? So let's just save this and go back to our application. And as you can see, whenever I click the search for places button, so this left side component gets hidden. And just to give an example, so let's just go back to the search.jsx file, and let's just give it a class, and here let's just delete this, and let's just create a paragraph and say hello from search, right? And just give it a class name of text and set the color to white. So now if I go ahead and save this, go back to our application, and if you reload, so as you can see, whenever I click the search for place button, this left side component gets hidden and we are getting hello from the search. So with that we achieved the functionality, and as you can see in the final application, so whenever I click the search for places button, this component gets hidden and we are gonna be seeing this input field and the search button. And whenever I click this into button right here, so that component gets visible again. So let's just create this part right here. So go back to the search.jsx file, and inside the search.jsx file, let's just delete everything we wrote earlier. And inside here, let's just create a new div and give it a class name of flex, and justify the items to end and give it a margin of 3, right? So here let's just create a new button and give it a on click handler. So whenever the button gets clicked, let's just define a button handler function, and let's just give it a class name. Let's just set the text to white and text size to XL, and on the focus, let's just set the outline property of that particular button to none, right? And here I am gonna be rendering the symbol, right? So this is the code for that particular symbol. So now let's just create a button handler function. Let's just say button handler. So let's just leave it empty for now. And if I go ahead and save this, go back to your preview, just refresh it, and as you can see here, so whenever I click the search for place button, so we are getting this into symbol right here. So this works good. So let's just come back to the application, and inside the button handler, let's just do the same thing as earlier. Let's just set the toggle property to opposite of the current toggle, right? So let's just save it and go back to our application. So whenever I click this icon right here, so this gets disappear. So now with this we got this nice visible and hidden functionality. So let's just stub out this input component and the search button right here. So now just go back to the application. So let's just create a new div, and let's just give it a class name of flex and set the items to baseline and just justify them to center, right? Let's just create a new input, and let's just give it a name of, let's just say places, and give it an ID of places. And as far as the placeholder goes, let's just give it a placeholder like search for places, right? So now let's just give it a class name of margin top to 10 and margin left to 2, padding of 3, set the width to auto, and as always On focus, let's just set the outline to none, and let's just give it a focus of ring. And on the focus, let's just set the border to red 100, right? So let's just save it and go back to the application, and as you can see right here, so we got this input, right? So let's just create the button. So just come back to the application, and down here let's just create a new button, and let's just give it a class name of background blue 200 and set the padding to 2 and margin X to 2 and set the rounded corners. And as always, on the focus, let's just set the outline to none and focus ring to 2, and on the focus let's just say focus ring purple of 200 and focus ring opacity of 50. And on the hover, let's just set the background gray of 600, and on the hover state, let's just say the text to white, and let's just give it a small transition so that it looks good, and give it a duration of 300, ease in and out, right? And let's just set the text color to black, right? And inside this button, let's just say search. So now if I go ahead and save this and go back to the application, so as you can see here, we got this search button rendered onto our application, right? So whenever I click on this cross button right here, so this hides this left side component, and whenever I click the search for places button, and as you can see, we got this input and the search button right here. And when I hover this particular button, so that button background gets changed along with the text color. So that's what we define in the class names. And in Tailwind CSS, we can directly define the active and the hover states in the class name itself. So that's what I'm doing here. On hover, I'm changing the background color and the text color along with that. So that's what as far as the button goes. So that's it for this video, guys. And in the next video, we are going to be communicating with the meta weather API. So as you can see here in the final application, and when I search for the places and I click on the search, this communicates with the API. So as we completed this search component in this video, in the next video we are going to be creating a new piece of state in the app.js file, so that we can get the place searched by the user right here, and then we can communicate with the API and render the temperature right here. So that's what we are going to be dealing in the next video. And if you have any comments, then please do comment in the comment section, and please do like and subscribe to the channel. So until then, I'll be seeing you in the next video.